know where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you landed here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfield.
This episode of Chief Concerns is brought to you by BetOnline.AG.
And we're back and better than ever. A new web interface for the rest of the NBA season and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the basketball and football action this season. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BLEAV 50, to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, so welcome to another episode of Chief Concerns. Kind of a little new look here. We're still waiting on JD. You guys know he's not the most punctual guy. But we got former cornerback Eric Warfield, and tonight we have Kingdom Kast co-host, another great podcast. That anyone hasn't listened to that or subscribed to it, definitely check out Kingdom Kast podcast. And you may know this guy as @CountryBoy567 on Twitter, correct? That's the
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, Country, nice to have you on, man.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
And you ain't got to be so uptight either. Marcus is the youngest one on here. Don't be calling him yes, sir. Relax and enjoy yourself.
I got you.
We got the man of the hour, JD, coming on here now as well.
Oh,
But,
look at him.
before we get into the Chiefs stuff, obviously the whole sports world was kind of saddened by the loss of John Madden. I know Raiders coach, but it's one of those things. He kind of embodied the shield, and for so many different reasons. And I just kind of wanted to ask you, E and JD, and you, Country, just what did John Madden mean to you, and did you ever have any interactions with him, E?
You know what? I never had any conversations with him. A little bit before my time, but I know he called a few games that I participated in. When you think of the name John Madden, it just symbolizes football, especially because of the Madden football game. Probably one of the most popular games that's out there. And then to grow up and watch and hear his voice when he covers games, it's the loss of him. You lose a big piece of football and what he meant to it. So especially, definitely a good one gone too soon. No, I can't say too soon. Yeah, but 80, 82, I think he was.
85.
85. I mean, good life. But still, no one knows when their time is called. And so to lose somebody like that and that big, to have that such an impact to the game, that's a tough one.
Yeah, JD. So before you got on the show, so JD, welcome to the show. We have Country on tonight from Kingdom Kast. You guys are familiar with each other.
Oh, Country, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, JD?
Got it? Doing all right?
Doing?
Yeah.
So I asked E and Country just to kind of about John Madden, what kind of impact did he have on you and just in general? Did you ever have any kind of interaction with him?
Well, not personally, but I know that he used to be a big fan of number 87, 89, man. So he used to have like this Madden, like tough guy team that he would just put guys on that kind of was like kind of unsung heroes. And he would talk me up. I would see, some of the cast that, later, some in the films and stuff like that. And he would always, talk about, my blocking or, this guy come in and he, just kind of tough. And so I always appreciated him for saying that and just, giving me, a little bit of, some honor in the things that I did. And so other than that, man, John Madden, man, we're talking about a legend, a guy that was a trailblazer just with his coaching style, who he was, his thought process, gave a lot to the game. And to be honest, I think I texted you this. I wondered about where he was at and how he was doing a few months ago. Because you hadn't really heard too much about him, and that was the thing about it. Because it's just, especially in these last 2 years. I mean, people are, you never know who's going, who's leaving, and stuff like that, man. But when you talk about just the impact that he had on the game, as a coach, I mean, he's at the top of the echelon without a doubt. And look, we all know, we all played his game, the Madden game. He put his name on something that I mean, he deserved it. And so when he talked about things, I mean, John Madden spoke. He spoke volumes every time he did. So, man, just hats off. Sad news, but like I said, man, just a great guy.
Yeah, Country. As a fellow fan, what did John Madden mean to you?
Yeah, coming from a fan's perspective, like we seen him call games, and you get the boom and all the sound effects and the drawing on the screen and all that. But mostly we knew him from like video games. It was Tecmo Bowl, and you could just run the Bo Jackson play and beat everybody in the face.
Can't be stopped.
Then they upgraded to Madden, and when Madden came out, it was just so different. It was just, you really felt like he was in the game. It taught you the game, taught you plays, it taught you how to play strategy, and somebody said that it taught you how to manage the clock and all that good stuff. So we look at that as his legacy, but he was a coach. He was a guy off field. He was a humanitarian. He was just everything. He was a legend in every sense of the word, is the tweet that I sent out last night. So even though he was a rival, and you know how we feel as fans, we hate the Raiders, we still had that level of respect, a high level of respect for John Madden. So it's a sad loss for fans, video game people, football. It's a sad loss all over the globe, for real. So
it's almost kind of like the Jordan shoe, and like a lot of the kids nowadays, like little young kids, have no idea who Jordan is, but this shoe is so popular. It's kind of the same way with John Madden. They have no idea who John Madden is, and this game just continues to evolve and become so popular. But, I wouldn't put him up on a pedestal with Michael Jordan and what Jordan has done, but he's up there with the game.
Yeah, he's synonymous with the game, because it's like, if you don't know, if I say Madden, you might say the game, you might say football, you might anything. You know what I'm saying? He could say anything to you, and you would know him, from my kids to my grandmother knows. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean,
the legacy, man.
That legacy in itself, like, it speaks volumes, like the Lombardi, right? We're talking about Lombardi Trophy, put names on certain things. And John Madden, like I was talking about those teams that he just had. I mean, guys, man, we talking about from, the 70s, 80s, 2000, when guys were just playing, man, that was like a badge of honor for John Madden to have you on his wall, to put you on his team, meant a lot to guys, for players. And man, it just, what he, just like you said, and what he meant to the entire sports world. Just being a coach and just being kind of like that colorful, personality, so great one gone, man. Great one gone,
Hell, I think he still has the record out in Oakland for most wins, right?
And he also has the NFL highest winning percentage of any coach that coached at least 100 games.
Mm-hmm. Even Belichick?
Yeah.
Even Belichick.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And he made Frank Caliendo rich too.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about Madden is that, it's like his legacy will live on, because, even my grandkids will know who Madden is, but with a video game, it's also gonna be like kind of like an education aspect, right? Where parents are gonna be playing video games with their kids and like, oh, this is Madden. This is who this guy was, So it's like kind of like as an education, endless for however many years they continue to make Madden. But that's cool. So we're gonna get into the concerns for the night. So we got 4 concerns. The first one, obviously, the game last Sunday was kind of a wire-to-wire domination, 36-10, but it felt like just from the second half of the game, just felt like it was bigger than that, bigger blowout than that. And obviously we clinched our 6th straight AFC West title. But what were some of the things that kind of stood out to you in this 36-10 win over the Steelers?
I like more the consistency of what we've become. Like, second half of the season, we've rediscovered our identity. Before people were talking about we didn't have a chance. Patrick Mahomes isn't the same quarterback. This
Hold
Chiefs
on,
team is
hold
the
on,
same
hold on.
team.
Hold on, E. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. The siren and stuff, man, was just kind of going on. Man.
Hey, I've been Dallas. Man. We hear police sirens 24/7.
Man, what y'all doing down there, man? Yeah.
Hey, the crazy thing is I'm in the little ritzy area, so it's like you hear them all the time, but it's just for nothing.
I don't know if you had to check out your window or whatever. I'm like, wait, hold on, wait a minute.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing at all. But yeah, so I like the consistency of where we're at right now. Defense is playing awesome ball, especially when we have a full defense. Chris is playing the way he's playing. Ingram's come in and kind of recreated this defense. I don't want to say he recreated, but he kind of lit a fire under everybody's ass to where, they understand what the potential of what we have as a defense. So it's been a lot of fun to watch. The offense, not having Kelsey out there and to see the way they were still able to keep pace and put up points and let those other guys go out there and get some shine. So it was a good win. I like I said, the consistency of it is coming to play at the right time of the season, going into the playoffs.
You kind of just want to get hot at the right time, and the timing is lining up perfect for the Chiefs to be hot and really. They're not even really hitting on all cylinders because they haven't even had the opportunity because guys have missed games, guys have been hurt. The offense wasn't pulling their weight, but the defense was. And now it's kind of coming to a level of balance of the defense is playing just as hard as the offense. And they're starting to come together. That has to be scary for every team in the NFL that, oh, my God. Our saying on the podcast this week was be mad at yourself. Y'all had the opportunity. We were 3-4, last in the AFC West. Patrick Mahomes was broken. The defense was the worst defense ever. The offense wasn't consistent enough. And you let them just linger around and lay around, and now they're back. And it has to be like the scariest sight for anybody in the NFL. All other 31 teams, it has to be scary.
Yeah. On
the podcast, we asked Jason a question. Who would he rather have if he could only choose one, Travis or Tyreek? He never answered my question, so Jason. Putting you on the spot.
It's a hard question.
Yeah, because they're both game changers, man. They each one, can turn the game completely around.
Mm-hmm. But I did.
If you only had one, though.
Yeah, but remember, I followed up. I said, one thing: speed kills. Speed kills. Sometimes you just can't count for that, right? So I guess it was kind of a non-answer, non-answer.
Yeah, it's still kind of hard to answer. Because look at what Kelsey's been. Ever since he stepped on the field, he's been a Pro Bowl player. I think it took Tyreek a couple of years to come into his own. Yeah. But Kelsey's, since day one has been doing this thing, and hasn't been stopped. And I hate the comparison that everybody does with him and Tony, like who's the best, tight end that come through Kansas City. Kelsey's still young. I mean, he's still got some years left. Hopefully we can, sign him to another long-term deal if he continues doing the things that he's doing. But like Jason said, you can't teach speed. And Tyreek is a unique individual, especially at his size, to be able to go out and make those kind of plays.
Yeah.
The weird part of it is Tyreek played, but he didn't really play. He had.
But you got to respect him whenever he's on the field, though.
Yeah, so he was more of a decoy. You think he was more of a decoy than anything?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I think teams they pretty much had to double him because you never know when he's gonna hit you for a big play.
Right.
And the thing is, you got to stay on top of him. You got to stay underneath him. So that opens it up for everybody else.
Yeah, and that first drive, they were peppering him with targets in that first drive, and that was kind of it after that.
Well, you start doing that, you start putting in the defensive mind like this guy's gonna have a big game. So that's the thing about him. We talk about Travis's, of course, his ability to make guys miss in the field, but Tyreek just puts it on a whole different level. I mean, he's out there and he's playing around with guys with his speed. I mean, he's out there, he's just stopping and starting and going, and he's just on like his ability athletically just to do the things he's doing is just on a whole different level. And I think, defenses, you can't prepare for that. Like you said, you have to double a guy like that up. You have to. If you don't, he's going to torch you for 200. I mean, and so when I was looking at the game, some of the things when I was watching, like you said, it was part of their decoy. Even when Tyreek was running down the hill, he took two guys. He took two guys because they knew they had to account for him. And so that left a lot of the guys open. Pringle, that's why he was able to get, 6 catches and Patrick was able to pepper it around a little bit. And kind of going to the fact of like some of the things I seen during the game was that Patrick was hitting the guys that was open. It was like a lot of underneath routes. And really, man, I'm gonna take my hat off really to the offensive coordinators, to Bieniemy and Andy, calling a great game offensively. Just putting these guys in a position, man, to make plays. And so they did it. Our first somewhat, I say, test of adversity that all these other teams had to deal with, right? Dallas came in, we had to deal with them. Everybody talked about they have they full tools in the bag. Of course, same thing, Green Bay, same thing. But you know what? Chiefs came in. I was like, look, we have enough. And we did. And we handily dealt them in. We were talking about a Pittsburgh team that is look, they got some boys on the other side. Ben is a good quarterback. He's got some receivers on the other side. They got a good defense, got a great defensive end. So it was going to be a challenge, man. But the way we came in and just handled it, I mean, we made no doubt who was a better team on Sunday. And so that's what I love so much about it, is because we were just head and shoulders above everybody else. And our confidence just showed that. From the very first drive to the first interception, at that point on, it was just a command from the lead on. And we just made it all just look so, like you said, put together. And it was just so dominant. And seeing that, like, at this right time, like you said, kind of going into the playoffs, without a doubt, the Chiefs are the team that's here to win it. No, without a doubt. I don't think there's anybody else in the AFC saying, maybe no, it's the Chiefs. And so when I was looking at some of the talking heads this whole week, it seemed like everybody was like, well, I told you so. Well, now you wasn't. You wasn't that dude. You know what I'm saying? 2 or 3 weeks ago. You weren't that guy 6 or 7 weeks ago. You wasn't. You was talking about it's all done with, where they going to go. Y'all was those guys. And so it kind of, I don't know, it bothers me a little bit, because now all of a sudden everybody's like, the Chiefs the team to win. Okay. Now you're saying that, right? Now you're saying it.
Well, and for now, they have their sweethearts in Cincinnati with that high power offense they had last week against Baltimore. That's the new kind of the sleeping giant right now. That people are jumping on the bandwagon of. So we'll see what happens on Sunday. There might Monday and Tuesday we might have a new favorite of the AFC.
Yeah. It's like they set up a funeral and they had the singers and the preacher and everybody was there, and they forgot the body. And the Chiefs showed up like, yo, what's up? They're like, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
What happened to y'all? Yeah.
I saw a stat earlier about the too high safety look. And over the last 3 weeks, we've completed 45% or 46% on the too high safety look over the last 3 weeks, which is the highest in the NFL. So it sounds like, based on the looks of it, and it sounds like that we've kind of figured out this whole too high look nonsense that everyone's been, complaining about all season long.
We're not taking the chunks the way we used to, and the defenses want to give us the under routes and let Tariq beat them with speed, and then all of a sudden you let Travis hit you for something big. Continue doing it. Take advantage of everything that they give you, and that's what we've been doing lately. So you want to keep running that too deep, we're gonna push you out of that too deep pretty soon.
So E, do you think that makes us more scarier?
I think our offense as a whole is scary as it is.
I mean, yeah, because we already scary, but him having patience and willing to attack your holes, does that make him even like?
That's the thing that, for me, as a fan, as a former player, I've come to give Patrick more respect with, because the first few games he doesn't want those underneath routes. Patrick wants to hit you for deep plays. That's all he wanted, and he was getting impatient with it, and then he was having a lot of turnovers with it. So it was like, do I take what they give me? Yet taking what they give you has got our team back on the road, got our offense back together. So yeah, I like, it's implementing the running backs a lot more. Even with Hilaire hurt, our other 2 running backs have done well within the offense. and it's opened up the passing lanes for the receivers to come in and make their names out there. So I like, it's just a matter of, can we keep Patrick poised enough to where he's comfortable with this, dink and dunk. It's not like it's not at all close to what my guy that broke his leg. Our quarterback before Patrick.
Alex Smith.
Oh yeah.
Yes. It's not a dink and dunk like Alex Smith. Totally not that. But that's kind of what we're given right now, what teams are trying to give us. And at times, we'll hit Tariq for a deep play on a scramble. But for the most part, most teams aren't going to give us that deep play. They're not going to give us the one-on-one with Tariq. So just take advantage of what they're giving us.
So I'll say this. I'll answer the question. We definitely has made it more scarier. With a simple fact, they had to cover us the whole field to begin with. But now, what I really appreciate is the defense actually showing us that look early on in the season. So now, one of the things, Patrick, all the coaches, all the players had a chance to adjust. And it takes a little bit of time, right? And it's the same thing. He said this before. We all know it. This is a copycat league. And everybody was taking what Tampa did against us and say, look, you know what? The Chiefs ain't going to do this. So if they're not going to do us, we're going to do us defensively. And so all of a sudden it started working at the very first of the season. And we were struggling. Like you said, Patrick was struggling. But now, like you said, you start implementing a little bit more the running backs into the passing game. But also, too, these last few weeks, we've been letting the running backs actually run the football a little bit more, right? So when you start doing that, what I see now, defenses, they have got to respect that. They got to respect that part. And when I was looking at some of the combinations of routes that they were running this past week, what I was seeing was, we're going to hit you deep. You got to cover that with Tyreek. We're going to use you with the speed. We're going to hit some mid-range routes, and we're going to run a whole lot of cross routes on y'all too. And then we're going to swing the backs out the backfield. So what is it you're going to do? So you ain't got enough guys to cover in the middle, right? You ain't got enough guys to cover deep. You got enough guys to get, wide enough in this thing. And so what another promising thing I seen was protecting Patrick. They did a great job, offensive line, protecting Patrick this week. It was at one time, I don't know if y'all remember this or not, but he was down there in the red zone going in, and he sat back there for about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was almost max protection. And he just had a good old time. I'm sitting there like, I got a little worried, like, dang, God, he's got a little bit too much time. And he hit Pringle for the touchdown. But, those guys, man, had been doing a good job. And so what we've seen is the improvement has happened just not with the wide receivers with Patrick, but also, too, the offensive line. And so the defense speaks for itself, man. But what we've seen, like you said, talking about Ingram and what he's been doing as far as, like, making that transition and the other guys playing around it, man, these guys, man, they on a whole different level right now with everything. I love it.
I definitely like how they've been using D. Will lately. D. Will has slowly but surely and under everybody's nose has become a very valuable weapon, like out the backfield and running. And then
I think he had 100 total yards in the
Gore.
first half.
Huh?
I think he was at 100 total in the first half, rushing and receiving.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you add the energy of a young guy like Gore, who's hungry to make his name, and he comes out and he shoots out, and it's like one drive was all him, right? Wasn't one drive like really Garrett Gore?
Yeah. Every play.
I just like how they're using the running game. It's like a brand new toy that Andy Reid's found, and he's been using it. And he's been going to the well with it a lot lately. So I'm curious to see how that goes forward. It's exciting, man. This is exciting.
It is.
So moving on to our next concern, we talk about offensive weapons and another kind of toy. All season long, even going into the offseason, we were talking about who's going to emerge as the number 2 guy. We talked about Hardman, we talked about DeMarcus Robinson, Pringle was also a name we talked about. Then we brought in Josh Gordon. We thought that could be the emerge as the number 2 guy. But seeing no Kelsey this weekend and seeing who really stepped up this week was Byron Pringle. Do you think Pringle has kind of immersed himself as the number 2 wide receiver after what he did this past weekend?
You know what? Yes, he has, no doubt about it. And the reason I was hesitant about it is because offense is not that typical. If we do what we do half the time, one day it might be, Hardman, might come be number 2. It could be Robinson as number 2. Byron, I think he benefited, like I said, a lot was where Hill was getting a lot of looks just taking guys with him. But I mean, Byron Pringle, man, when I watched him this past week, he definitely stood out catching the football. And I seen that one, he caught it and it looked like he fumbled. And I'm like, oh man, because to me, sometimes he does that. Sometimes he's not as strong with the football like it should be. But I think he kind of made up for it. And then when he was able to make plays, I mean, he did it. He showed his skill set. But to me, yeah, he definitely, emerged as the number 2 in this offense.
Gotcha.
I definitely agree. He showed, I think this is one of his breakout games. Similar to the game he had against Indianapolis a couple of years ago. That was kind of a little breakout game for him too. So I like Pringle. I like that Hardman showed some life. He didn't get down on himself, and he contributed to the game. I kind of like what Noah Gray was kind of doing out there, and I think that further he could be a weapon. But yeah, definitely, I think Pringle's he's a solid number 2 right now.
Yeah, I like all of them, but the one that's shown the most consistency to me is Harden. So, Pringle stepped up at the right time when they needed him to, and he showed that we can depend on him. So to say that he's the solid number 2 going into the rest of the season, I can't say it based off of this last game, but he has shown that he's dependable. So.
No, man, you can't like McCall Hardman on Chiefs Twitter now.
What you mean?
He's a decisive character right now, man. You gotta be careful with that phrase on McCall Hardman.
There's a lot of strong opinions on that.
I think McCall Hardman I think he doesn't get the fair shake that he deserves, and he's kind of the target this year. So even when he does good, he still gets a little bit of the slander. But I agree with you. I think McCall Hardman still has talent that hasn't been tapped into. As long as he gets consistent and he give us games like he did Sunday, I can roll with McCall Hardman all day.
I think McCall's still raw as a receiver. I do. I think he's still raw as a receiver, and you can still see it. I can see it as far as like some of the route running. Like he ran one crossing route, and he started drifting up the field, right? And just as a rule, what you want to do is you want to come back to the football. And actually, Patrick kind of got on him about it. He's like, kind of like, man, look, no, don't drift. I'm trying to get the ball to you. So you catch the football so you have more space, between you and the defender. Then you can take off running. But if you start drifting like this, then all of a sudden, these things can be intercepted. All these things can happen. So,
you know what? I've noticed that he's the only one that Pat yells at like vocally.
yes.
Like, is that because he's trying to tap into that? I think Pat sees what he could be, and he's just not hitting it consistently every time. And he's the only one that Pat really yells at. The only one I really seen him yell at before.
He's the one that you can see, like you said, they're not on the same page. And so what he's expecting out of him, as quarterbacks do, look, we had a saying in the office room, be where you're supposed to be where you're supposed to be at when you're supposed to be there. And so if a quarterback's expect you to be a particular place, distance down and everything like that, then be there. And so Patrick's expecting something out of him and he's not doing it, then he's going to be vocal. He's going to be like, hey, man, look, we worked on this. This is some things like when, as a receiver, when you've been doing it for a while, getting the first down, like it was like, get to the yardsticks. Like, come on now, slow down. We need the first down. You shouldn't be a yard short. There's no reason for that. And so things like that, I know the frustration, but like you said, because he has the talent and he knows what he can do, right? I mean, we know McCall, look, he has that speed just like Hill. He's right there with him as far as speed-wise, right? I mean, he can take off too. We get the ball in his hands. And so we seen it. And so I know Patrick's like, man, if I could just have you right there on that page, do you understand what I could do just offensively, fully with this thing? You know what I mean? And I think that's where kind of the frustration comes in because he knows what he's got. He knows it. It's almost like having a Lamborghini, but you're only riding it in second or third gear. You know what I'm saying?
What did you make of Josh Gordon's performance, JD? I know you've been on the leader of the Josh Gordon fan club over the past season so far. What did you think? What did you make of his play on Sunday?
Just short. He was short here and there. The first one that Patrick threw to him, Patrick had a guy in his face. You know, if Trey Smith had held him a little bit longer, could have been a touchdown. Second one, Patrick, same thing, off his hands, but hit his hands, you got to catch it. And so, I was expecting a little bit more out of Josh. Hey, look, you know what? When I expected, but hey, that's all right. Look, everybody else stepped up. So get him next week, Josh. Get him next week. Come on.
E, what did you think about it? 'Cause you texted about his performance on Sunday.
Man, I ain't here to sugarcoat. He's a Chief, so I support everything he's doing. Want him to do well. He's just, to me, he hasn't stepped up to the plate yet. I figured bringing somebody in his size, his stature, he'd be an immediate impact. Even with the time he's been out. I feel like he's a type that you could throw up for fade routes, challenge the ball on most routes. And I don't know if the game is passing by or what, but he's not making the plays that I've known him to be accustomed to. JD can sit and say what he wants to say, but in all honesty, dude hasn't done anything since he's been with the team. That's just being honest.
Oh my God.
He has one touchdown and probably a few catches that probably total up to 50 yards since he's been here. I don't know. And I know JD's gonna say he hasn't had the time to get his legs, whatever else. But again, when you're given this kind of a free pass to come back and make a name for yourself or reestablish yourself, I figured he'd be a bigger impact a lot sooner than where he's at now.
First off, that's not on him. Okay, most of it. All right, there's time he's been open, and we ain't seen out one fade pass.
Are y'all related, JD?
Hey, look, I'm gonna take up for him like we are. Then that's what I'm gonna do.
I'm just saying. Are y'all?
Look, you can't sit there like, he works. He's on our team, so I'm gonna support him. No. Look, let's. If we're gonna be fair, then let's just be fair, okay? Look, the man's been out.
That was my opinion, though. He asked me my opinion.
I get it. I know it. You see me shaking my head at your opinion like it's a horrible opinion.
Country, do you really think Josh is playing up to half of the potential that we brought him in for?
Look, have you seen one?
I didn't ask you, JD.
What? Oh, okay. Okay. No, go ahead, Country.
Do you think he's been half of what we expected of him?
I'm kind of in the middle. I agree with Eric. I agree with Dunn. How much do you think trust is a factor in what he's doing? Because I think he's played himself back into shape. He looks good out there. Yeah. He's had opportunities. I don't know if Pat trusts him. I don't know if Pat feels confident throwing in the ball in certain situations. Do you think that plays a factor, or is it? I think the talent is still there. You know what I'm saying?
Marcus, when did he come?
I believe it was like
third game of the season.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
He's been here for a little bit.
I'm not gonna sit. I don't want to sit here and make it like I'm knocking the guy and saying he's crappy. Josh Gordon was a beast in his prime. We all know this. I'm just saying I don't know if that Father Time is caught up to him. For him to make the plays that he's made. Man, we can go a whole off season and go into training camp after months of not doing anything and look like we've been playing football for weeks. So I don't want to sit and act like it takes you that long. I've never been in this position that he's in. I don't play the position he plays. I know the playbook for offensively is a lot difficult than it is defensively. But you take Odell Beckham, who was Achilles? Was it his Achilles or his knee? And it's taken him a couple of games to get acclimated and get back in the game. He shows up in LA. They run routes designed for him. I told y'all earlier, Odell's not going to beat a corner one-on-one. He's going to beat a guy by running double moves, and that's all you see him catching balls with is with double moves. So you let Odell play it to his strength. What are we going to let Josh Gordon play into?
Oh, man, look. Okay, so they're not playing into his strength, right? We talked about the fade ball. How many fade balls?
Whose fault is that?
It's not. Is it his? Or is it part of it is like, making the calls?
So if he doesn't fit our system, man, why have him?
Look, it's the same thing, right? If he came here like week 3, okay, the guy hadn't played for 2 years. Odell Beckham has been playing. Even when he was hurt, he was playing. He was in that system. Then he goes out there to LA, and LA has small guys, right? The LA system works for Odell Beckham. He's been in that system before. So the same thing with Josh, who's coming in. Look, and like I said before, trying to fit a guy, okay, on the outside who with all purposes is 6'3", 6'4", doing things differently when other guys are doing as far as like what we do offensively. That's my thing about it, okay? So it's going to take him some time. Look, give him the off season. If he comes in off season, then you say it next year, then fine. Look, you know what? I'll be right there with you. Like, look, you know what? This guy. But look, for the guy to be out there too.
You know for a fact that's not how offenses work. That's not how teams work. You don't bring you in, and I don't know a team that's brought a guy in to be this unproductive and to still have him on the roster.
First off, let's say this, okay? It's not just him catching the football where he contributes to what they do, all right? A guy could contribute different ways, and he's been blocking very well for the Chiefs, okay? He's probably the best receiver blocking out there, without a doubt, period, okay? So let's just go ahead and dispel what you just said. Offensively, how we do things, it does take some time. So a guy that comes in, right, and it's just like, what do you need this guy for? So if we're not throwing up, look, Josh Gordon, we talked about this, fade ball, we all been calling for it. We still have not seen a fade ball yet thrown to this man. None of us. So I don't know what's going to take. I mean, we know it. We've seen it. We know he can still jump. Why not just give him one to see what he can do? I'm sure they tried it out in practice. But like Country was saying, maybe it's something that is just not on the same page. And Patrick was so used. Look, we know he's used to, look, Tyreek, Travis, look, that's the 2 guys he's looking for more so anything else, right? I mean, it's
who was the tight end that we had that got hurt, that tore his knee?
Jody
Fortson. Okay, he wasn't. They found a way to get him the ball.
You've been here 2 years.
It doesn't matter. He doesn't get the reps.
What's that?
He doesn't get the reps, JD. He goes in, they find a way to get him the ball.
Was Fortson here all season? Let me just remind. Was he here all season? Marcus Country. He was. So
they find a way to get him the ball.
So he was on the team.
Did they get him the ball?
During the spring and
did they get him the ball?
Right? Huh?
Did they get him the ball?
Yeah, because he was here.
Okay.
He had been here. Sucker been here all year to eat. He had been here 8 months. What you talking? Not to mention they brought him back.
Well, hey,
that was the guy that
I got to take off.
That's the guy that they knew.
We got to have you on again. Finish the show with the fellas. JD, you continue your argument with the guys.
Stop hating.
What you say, Mark?
Before you go, give us your score prediction for Sunday, just so we have that.
35-24 Chiefs.
All right, I like that.
I like that.
All right, E. Well, take it easy, buddy.
Have a good night, fellas.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Good night. Hey, thanks,
Appreciate
you, bro. So Dunn, what if we take the Flash name away and he's just a receiver, Josh Gordon, who blocks and he comes up with a catch every now and then. But he like you said, he contributes in more ways than just receiving. He is doing that. Like, you got to give him that.
Yeah.
He's just not showing the flash part that we know him for.
Well, I say this, okay? When Karl Malone went out there to the Lakers, we didn't take the mailman away from him. You know what I mean? We don't take away the name just because the level like he used to. You know what I mean? You can't do that. So Flash, you keep Flash. The only thing is you work with Flash all off season, and that's what I'm saying, man. Look, 2 years out of football, okay? 2 years out of football without getting hit, without getting catches. I ain't talking about your girlfriend throwing passes to you in the backyard, right? I'm saying the girl try to throw an out route to you. That's different than Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball to you. Man, they got this guy off the street. You know what I mean? They got him off the street, man. And so, I'm not saying nothing about the street, but he hadn't been in that type of environment for a long time. And so part of that, and I think physically he's there. I think he is there physically. I really do. I just think when you go into the off season, this is how it works. This is what he doesn't quite understand. I know he understands. I know he's just kind of arguing with the whole point. what you do is you make your plays around everybody that you have, pretty much, right? So when you go in the offseason, all during the spring and the summer, you're talking about the pieces that you got. Jordy Fortson was a piece that they had. They knew, like, look, we got Jordy Fortson. We're going to have another tight end. This is what we're looking to do. But Tyreek, Travis, Robinson, Pringle, Hardman, this is where the offense is going to run around, right? Hilaire, all those guys. They know those pieces, the main pieces, is going to be there. So Josh Gordon is like a bonus. He's a bonus guy. That's why I look at it. So you don't get rid of a guy like that. I'm not really disappointed in what his play. You know what I'm saying? Because to be honest with you, he was a guy that wasn't really a factor. We didn't factor him coming in. When we heard Josh Gordon was available, he came on the team. Everybody was like, "Oh shoot, okay, that's the guy that we need." Now we don't see flash because we're not throwing flash plays. We ain't throwing flash plays right now. We just not. So you take the name away. Look, strip that name away from him. If you start throwing some fade balls, he ain't delivering. You know what I mean? He ain't flashing. He ain't flashing like that. Take that name from him. All right.
I will give him props for staying engaged, staying with the team. He's staying out of trouble. Because he had the concerns coming in, and we haven't seen anything like that since he's been here. He's been engaged. He's been a great teammate. Like you said, he's doing all the dirty work, the blocking and all that, the picks and being a decoy on certain situations. So the production will come. I ain't gonna give up on him yet.
No, come on, man. You know what? It'd be ridiculous to be honest with you. I mean, really, like I said, a guy like that. I mean, you keep him in. It's like, look, Josh. You know what? We know what you got. Your talent all season. After this works out, we can finish winning the Super Bowl. We're gonna have you in here. And we're gonna start working you into our offense. Now that we know we got you as a weapon, definitely. Then Jody comes back and all those other guys, man. There's other things we can do. But like you said, man, look, a guy contributes blocking when he needs to, man. He does a great job of it. So, if that was the case, man, I'd have been cut a long time ago. So I played 12 years,
So going back to E's question, when we brought him in, it was week 4 of the seasons when we brought him in. So, I mean, that's what, 13 weeks. I mean, as complex of a playbook as it is, I can't imagine that 13 weeks is even sufficient enough to learn a playbook like that. And also the Odell Beckham, from what I've noticed, they had Robert Woods was out when they signed him. They brought him in. So it was only Kupp, and then they had, just a bunch of guys we don't know their names, right? Well, they had some guy, Von Jefferson, but you put him in there, and it was clear they had plays that first game, that Monday night against the Niners. They had plays designed for Odell, where and what you were saying, JD, is we already have a playbook set. Josh was just coming into that. We weren't designing plays just for him because we have Kelsey and Hill. Those guys aren't hurt. I can imagine if those guys were out, we'd be designing plays for Josh Gordon. We kind of change up the playbook,
Yeah. And then all you're going to do is you're going to create a lot of tension because it's like, oh, okay, you're taking my plays away to give this guy who just got in here, right? Where's the loyalty, right? So, I mean, Travis, Tyreek, I'm like, hey, man, wait a minute, hold on. This guy got in. Look, we respect him, too, what he's done. But also, too, he's got to earn that spot. We've been the guys here, so you keep featuring us as they should, and have they been doing it? Yeah. It's like, man, come on, that's apples or oranges, man. And, when you had Robert Woods, Odell Beckham, they really the same guy, same body type, it's the same fit, man. It's cookie cutter. So that's why Odell was able to come in and bring him in that quick. That's why they wanted him. It's like, oh man, Odell, that's perfect. That's exactly the type of guy we need. So
I'm with you. I hope we bring him back next offseason and at least let him compete for the 53-man roster. If he wins out, then I think we'll actually have plays that were designed to go to him from the jump. So,
yeah.
All right. So our next concern here. Okay, obviously we're going into Cincinnati this week. And there's a little bit of history here, JD, because I was thinking earlier that we really haven't had a meaningful game against Cincinnati where both teams were actually relevant. And I'm going to say since the 2003 season where they snapped the undefeated streak that we had. Everyone in Chiefs Kingdom definitely remembers that game.
Yes.
So what's the thing here is everyone's talking about the Cincinnati offense, and there's good points to be made that we really haven't seen an offense of this caliber so far this season, where you got Burrow and we play the Packers. We know they were out Rodgers, but with Burrow, Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase, and CJ Uzmoa, I can't pronounce his last name, but butchered that. But when this kind of offense is playing against our defense, how big of a test is this game? And also, I kind of want to get your thoughts on that game from 03. Just, you scored a touchdown in that game.
I'll tell you what, man. I'll start on the 03 game first. So, we weren't looking past them. Chad just comes in, Ocho Cinco, of course, guarantees a win and whatnot. And thank God they lucked out on that game, for real. They lucked out on it. But it was just, one of those things, man. Cincinnati's a great place to go play. They got a lot of history up there. They always keep good players. And so we didn't get it done, man. We didn't get it done. That was like one of those things, it's just blemish on the record, man, when they broke our win streak. Because we sure didn't think Cincinnati was going to be the ones to do it. We just didn't. We didn't, for real. We was just running through folks. So 03. But now you see they have a lot of talent on the opposite side of the ball. So, yeah, man. I mean, Jamar Chase, Burrow throws for 500-some yards, man. 5 touchdowns, man. They was just explosive all last week. And so it's going to be a great test to our defense. I think, our guys, we match up real well, because we got Snead back. The young guys are going to look at it for a challenge. And I think, also, too, defensively, our defensive line is going to bring some pressure on Joe Burrows. I think that's what you do against a guy like that. Still kind of young. He's got to put the ball where he needs to. He's got some great accuracy, man. He's really, really solid in the pocket. So he's a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. And to me, I look at it like this. Our defense holds up well. And you stop those three, Chase, Higgins, and I think it's and Boyd. We're going to be all right. Mixon, it's not really an issue and a problem. He'll try to get going, but I think we have something for him too. But I think we got our full bevy back of guys, and that's a great thing for us. So we stop them from scoring, we're gonna be fine, man. And I think our defense is looking forward to a challenge. I think our defense plays even better now, knowing that you have that challenge. I mean, look at them: Green Bay, Dallas. So they was eating. Those guys like that, man. They are really, really ready for things like that. When they got good receivers coming in, they want that. They want that. So. I think we got a great opportunity, man, to show everybody, put everybody on notice. Not that we haven't already, but we beat these jokers like we did last week against Pittsburgh. Shoot, we know we're going to Super Bowl, and everybody else gonna be like, look, get ready. So,
yeah, Cincinnati. Here's an aspect of the game that I was thinking about is Pat. I think Pat got that Michael Jordan thing in him. And I think that they've been loving Joe Burrow all week and for a few weeks actually, and he deserves it. Joe Burrow's a good quarterback. He's gonna be one of them ones. They got a franchise quarterback in Cincinnati after a long time. So, but I think Pat loves that challenge, and that's not good for Cincinnati. Our defensive line versus that offensive line, they should feast all night. That offensive line is not, I don't think they're capable of holding up against a motivated Jones, Ingram, Reed, who's been flashing a lot lately after we didn't know who he was for the first 7 weeks, but he's been showing up a lot lately and with a vengeance. And those guys are ready and hungry. So it doesn't matter how good the secondary is playing if he don't have no time. You feel me? So if we can get him and rush him off this spot, and he's still a young guy, so he can be baited into interceptions and he can be rushed and pushed off his spot. So I think it's going to come down to that O-line versus that D-line. If that D-line is beasting and eating all night, I mean, we're going to make some short work of them. But Cincinnati's on that level, so they definitely coming in motivated and want to prove themselves that we do belong here. We're not the Cincinnati Bengals of old. Boomer Esiason is nowhere to be found. He's not walking through the door. You know what I'm saying? Ocho Cinco is not walking through that door. So it's going to be a good game, man. I think it's going to be back and forth. They're not going to be – I don't think we're going to run them out the building like we did Pittsburgh. I think they're going to show some heart. I think they're going to show some fight. So it might be a little closer than it should be, but I think the focus of in the mindset of the Chiefs right now. I don't think anybody could walk we can walk in the stadium right now. The way that focus is going right now, and it's not going to be that big of a challenge. The 0-3 game though. Why, man? Why did y'all lose that game? I just and I was a fan. Of course, you got to be a fan of Ocho Cinco. He's a Hall of Fame caliber player. You know what I'm saying? And he showed out. He danced. He brought fun to the game. And I hated him for saying that he was going to beat us, man. I was like, like I had never thought about losing until he said that. And then it happened. It just hurt. It just hurt, man.
That guy who just left, you should talk to that guy. That guy, he said he didn't really have a good game. He scored up,
So you scored a touchdown that game?
Who, Ocho?
No, you.
Yeah, I scored a touchdown. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I scored a touchdown. Yeah, I did. Yeah, just a little, like over the middle, little thing, man. I had my little dance, put my little dances to it. Did a Harlem Shake. I think I did a Harlem Shake on him. You know what I mean? Harlem Shake one.
Did Chad do much that game? He didn't do that much that game, did he?
Yeah, he had like 7 catches. I watched the highlights earlier. I think he had like 7 catches for like 70-something yards that game. Peter Warwick was the one who tore it up that game. He had a bomb for a touchdown. He had a punt return for a touchdown. So
that's what hurts because I'm a Florida State fan. I'm a Florida State Seminole fan. So to see Peter Warwick destroyed, that hurt more than anything. That's what hurt. Thank you for bringing that up, Marcus.
Yeah, Lee. I forgot. See, and that's the thing about it. It was almost like at the end of the game, we was like, did we lose for real? Did we really lose? We couldn't even believe it. Seriously, we couldn't believe we lost. So that hurt. It hurt, man.
Yeah, that game hurt, man.
You know what? Like when you winning like that, they always tell you always say, yeah, man, we ain't worried about like going undefeated. But you think in the back of my head, like, man, we got to get this next. We try to go undefeated. So you got to, you try to tell everybody, all the sports writers stuff like that. Now look, man, it's just next game. We're not trying to get the record. We're not trying. Yeah, if you at close, you're like, oh yeah, we could taste it. We could taste it. So
what? And the clip that I posted earlier on our Twitter page, it was Boomer, not Boomer, Chris Berman. Boomer was doing the the highlights, and they kept going back to our game. Back to Miami Dolphins with Don Shula and all those guys, like watching both games in there. And so they actually showed when our game was final, they showed them watching the TV and watching the game in the box at the Dolphins stadium.
They popped champagne, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's that guy, Mercury Morris?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So what do you think it was? Was it a bit of arrogance? Did y'all didn't? I'm not saying y'all overlooked them because you can't overlook any team. Was it?
No, man. We were just doing what we did. We came in and they always talk about the odds, and I forgot that Peter Warwick ran one back for for a touchdown. Yeah, punt return. I didn't even know that.
Oh wow.
So some things like that, man, is just. You think you're just doing enough, and it just all of a sudden, before you know it, when all the smoke's done settled, you had just got the short end of the stick, man. But it was, look, we believe us. Look, we was in the locker room, and we was just like, dang, God, I couldn't even believe it. And, look, that's in my backyard. I'm right here in Kentucky. So that's an hour up the street for me. So I had a lot of family at the game. Plus, my cousin was married to Jeremiah Johnson, the fullback.
He had a touchdown that game.
Yeah, I know. So I was just like, dang on, so it was one of those things, bittersweet. I got a touchdown, but we lost. And I'm just like, yeah, man, I can't believe I come all the way home and lose, so.
Wow. What was crazy about that game was, I was a kid. I was like 9 when I watched that game. So watching it kind of brought back some memories, but I forgot it was kind of a slugfest. It was 6-3 midway through the third quarter. I don't remember being like that at all. Then obviously the final score was 24-19, but it's crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. One touchdown here, play there, man. It's it's all turned around. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We can move on to the next question.
Yeah.
man. It still stings. I'm still like,
I'm sorry to open up old wounds, JD. Say goodbye to dull gifts. Lightbox lab-grown diamonds are the brightest gift of the year. Using cutting-edge technology and innovative techniques, they've cracked the science of sparkle, creating the highest quality lab-grown diamonds you can find at a light price. $800 per carat. They have the same chemical makeup of natural diamonds, but just are grown in a lab. Because of their process, they can create stones in blush pink and beautiful blue, as well as classic white. Lightbox lab-grown diamonds are the gift that they'll never want to take off, priced so they won't have to. They really do make any outfit sparkle. Visit lightboxjewelry.com to add sparkle to your holiday shopping. That's lightboxjewelry.com. Lightbox diamonds, never a dull moment. We're going to fast forward to now. Hopefully that doesn't happen this weekend, but it's the last segment's our game predictions. So week 17, our Kansas City Chiefs will travel to Cincinnati for 1 o'clock kickoff. And we got Jim Nantz and Tony Romo on the call again for this one. Chiefs are currently a 5-point favorite away this week. What are your scores, and who do you guys have in this game on Sunday?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think it's going to be 28-21. Okay, 28-21. Chiefs winning. I think our defense is just going to hold up. I think they'll hold up. I think they'll hold up real well against these guys. So we may give up, maybe a rushing touchdown, maybe 2 passing, but that's about it. So that's about all they're going to do. I don't think they're going to score more than 21 points against us. And so Patrick and all, offensive side of the ball, got Travis Kelce back. They're going to go with showing, Travis is right there. I mean, he's up in Cincinnati, so to him, he's home too. So this is home for him. So he's going to try to show out. He's definitely going to try to show out. But I think we get 28 points, beating them. I think it's what it's going to be. Matter of fact, I'm just go. I'm going to go 31-21. 31-21. I'm going to do that. How about that?
Why the change there?
I just, Kelsey's at home. He's at home. And he's going to try to show out. And I think we just continue what we've been doing the past few weeks. And so if we get up on them early, we're just going to keep rolling. Why not? So I think, like you said before, Country made a good point talking about Patrick, like having that Mamba mentality, right? Like that Jordan thought process. Like, okay, look, Justin Herbert, who you want, Josh Allen, keep bringing these guys up every week. Every time we play somebody, you always want to put this guy ahead of me or just on the same plane. Look, I tell you what, I got something for him. Watch. So, he gonna hang up about 31 on him. How about that?
What say you, Country?
Yeah, I agree with that statement. Every time when versus Josh Allen, Lamar, Trubisky, I don't even know what Trubisky could have did to him. He put something nice on him. Last time we played Cincinnati, we blew them out the water. I'll give him 21-2. I think it's gonna be. I'll go 35-21 because I think, like I said, I think Pat got that. He took it personal. He got that Michael Jordan in him. He got that swagger. So it might be back and forth or close for the first 3, and then I think that fourth quarter he's just gonna separate. And the defense is ready. The defense, they've probably been hearing it all week too. We're not getting 500 put on us,
right?
And I don't know if you got the stats, Marcus, but Joe Burrow's games outside of playing the Ravens are very different than when he plays the Ravens. Like, he kills the Ravens. Like, There's something, he got the Michael Jordan thing for the Ravens where it's just purely personal. And he putting up 500 yards, that's a personal thing right there. You know what I'm saying? That's a little bit overkill. But so I think Pat is going to try to separate himself and say he's young, he's upcoming, but he's not here. He's not ready yet. Right. And then I'm going to show y'all the difference. So 35-21.
Interesting. Yeah, the total points for this game is the highest of the week. I feel like every week Chief game is always it's the highest point total for the week. But Vegas has it at 50 points, and both you guys and all 3 of you guys took the over in this one. I think I think that's where I think it's where it's going to go. I mean, obviously with the two offenses there. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. It's fantasy championship for many people out there. So I'm sure if you were in the championship, you probably had Burrow last week. If you had Burrow at that point, so you're probably in the championship. And I'm sure there's some Mahomes guys in the championship. But yeah, it's gonna be a wild one. Hopefully it's a fireworks, and hopefully we win this game.
Well, COVID hit my fantasy team last week.
Yeah,
COVID kind of killed me. I'm 0-2 versus COVID. They tore my fantasy team up.
Yeah, I was playing a guy who had Burrow, but I had T. Higgins, but I just couldn't overcome. Burrow had like a 50-something in my league, and I couldn't overcome that.
I had Jamar Chase. He got me 20. That's all I needed. I had Jamar Chase, so it was good.
Are you in the finals?
Huh?
Are you
I'm in the finals. Yeah, I'm in the finals. Yeah. I've been number one all season, man. Number one all season. So got a nice, a tight lineup though. What helped me a little bit, Waller got hurt. Waller hurt me. It hurt me a little bit, you know. Other than that, man, I was beating people's heads in. I dialing them up. True.
I was cruising pretty good with Derrick Henry, and then it was downhill from there, bro.
Did you end up getting his handcuffs? Did you get Deontay Foreman or no?
Nah, it was all over there. I was cruising along pretty nice, and then there was a ton of bricks.
Well, JD, good luck to you this weekend, man. That does it for us. Thanks for tuning in to Chief Concerns presented by BetOnline Country. It was awesome having you on, man. Again, if anyone out there doesn't know about Kingdom Kast, Country's podcast, please go check that out and download it on pretty much anywhere you can get a podcast, correct? Spotify, Apple.
Yep. Yes, sir. Thank you. Kingdom Kast, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify. Shout out to my co-host Boogie, C-Pan for the win, Bad Luck Chuck, and our new correspondent Kylie Manning. Man, we appreciate all the support. We like what you guys are doing, man, and we support y'all just like y'all support us. Jason Dunn came on last week, man. I think we had a great show last week.
Yeah, man.
I try to ask you questions that I haven't heard you answer before, so it was pretty good. I think I did a good job to pat myself on the back.
Yeah, that was some great questions. Some great head scratches, some thumpers. I was like, okay. And I like it. Look, you brought me right into the fire. And I appreciate every bit of it, man. So thank you for allowing me to grace y'all channel, man. I really enjoyed myself over there. So y'all go catch him over there, man. Go catch him. Go watch these dudes. Doing a great job.
Put some pressure on E to come on, man. I'll throw him in the fire.
Okay. Ask him a Josh Gordon question. That'll get him.
All right, fellas. Well, everyone, we wish everybody out there in Chiefs Kingdom. I hope you guys have a happy new year. And I hope you guys have a nice celebration. And I hope the Chiefs get another dub. But
go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.